ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. I am recording this message after Purim. I didn't want to do it before Purim because I didn't want to be, in Spanish we say aguafiesta, to spoil your rejoicing in the festivity of Purim. You know, Purim is one of the happiest days of the calendar because, like many people said, what is Jewish tradition? Jewish tradition means like the following. The Gentiles wanted to kill us. God saved us. Let's eat. That's what it is. You know, we were in a moment of danger. We were saved. Now let's celebrate, you know, and live the good life. By the way, why is Pesach called Pesach? You know, the Jewish Passover. In English, you see the word, you know immediately, Passover, because the angel of death passed over the Jewish homes, and the Jewish firstborns did not die that last night before they left Egypt, because this is what was the fact that was decisive in Pharaoh's decision to let the Jews go, because his own firstborn died as well. So Passover means that, you know, the Jewish firstborn was saved. That's why. Why is Sukkot called tabernacles in English? Why is it called Sukkot? Because we built Sukkot, or God helped us build Sukkot, or maybe there were clouds of glory that protected us during our 40 years in the desert when we left Egypt. What is Shavuot? Shavuot is Pentecostes in English. What is that? 7 weeks between Passover and receiving the Torah. It counts those weeks. Or maybe it also has a synonym with the word is to swear, an oath that the Jewish people took on Mount Sinai that they were going to follow the Torah. Hanukkah, why is it called Hanukkah? Because it is the rehabilitation, the re-inauguration of the Beit HaMikdash. The temple in Jerusalem had been abandoned, and the Maccabees came and reinstituted everything, rekindled the menorah. That was very important. So Hanukkah means really renewal. That's what it means. Where does the name Purim come from? Do you remember? Where does it come from? It says like this, that there was a guy by the name of Mordechai, who was also some politician at that time, in the court of the king. His name was Achashverosh. And one of those court people, by the name of Haman, became the most important one next to the king. And our law was that everybody had to bow before this guy, because this guy was second to the king. But Mordechai didn't want to do it. He didn't want to bow to him. According to our rabbis, maybe because Haman had some kind of idol on his chest. So if he would bow to Mordechai, it would be like bowing to the idol. Or maybe he felt that the other guy is not no better than him. Why should he bow to him? The king said so now, but he's just as important. That, of course, bothered this Haman a lot. And when he found out that Mordechai was Jewish, then not only did he want to take revenge or chastise or punish this Mordechai, he wanted to punish his people as well, the Jews. So he did the following. He pilpur. He drew lots. And according to that magic, the number came out the 15th or the 14th of Adar. That's the day when he was going to kill all the Jews. So what does Purim remind you of? The day when Haman was going to kill our ancestor. Is that what you want to celebrate? Very strange, you know. By the way, how come this Haman, when he saw Mordechai, didn't know that he's Jewish? He found out afterwards that he's Jewish. What do you mean, he wasn't dressed like a Jew? You mean he didn't have a beard like a Jew? Or he didn't have peot, these locks that many of the Hasidim have? Or he didn't dress in general like a Jew? He didn't recognize him as a Jew? Nobody knew that he was a Jew? By the way, the book of Esther says also that Mordechai told the queen, don't say you're Jewish. Why not? The Megillah does not give you a reason for it. It turns out that at the end, the queen says to the king, this Haman is trying to kill me, the Jewish people. I am Jewish, he's going to kill my people. Was it to have an effect there? I don't know. But why didn't they know that she is Jewish? You know what many people think? The Jews were very assimilated in that land. This Mordechai didn't dress like a Jew. As a matter of fact, his name is one of the Persian names. The Talmud says, Mordechai mina Torah minayin. Where do we find a hint of Mordechai? So my rabbi, my teacher, Rabbi Soloveitchik, says from the incense that was used in the Beit HaMikdash, Morderor, that's where you name the name Mordechai, to indicate that he was going to reestablish the Beit HaMikdash again. But it seems that he was an assimilated Jew. The whole story starts that the king makes a very big party. And he wants his queen, Vashti was her name, to show herself in all her beauty. Maybe he wanted her naked then. I don't know. She refuses. And he banishes her or has her killed. Something like that. It seems that our ancestors were partaking of all those festivities too. And they weren't festivities of one night. This lasted weeks and weeks and weeks of drinking, of getting drunk, of eating all sorts of foods. Who gave the hechsher there? Who said that the food was kosher? Was the wine kosher that they served there? Who knows what was going on? It seems to the contrary. Purim is a very strange festivity. On Hanukkah we say Hallel. We say thanks to God for the miracles he did. On Purim you don't say Hallel. Why not? So our rabbis say, the whole Megillah, the book of Esther is like Hallel. But it's not Hallel. We don't say Hallel. Some say, why don't you say Hallel? Because what happened in Purim happened outside of Israel. And you only say Hallel for something that happened in Israel. Well, when the Jews left Egypt, they also sang songs. They weren't yet in the land of Israel. And they sang songs of gratefulness to God. Do you know that in the book of Esther, the name of God does not appear? Some say there's a word Hamelech, the king, that refers to God. Well, but it's not explicit. Why doesn't the name of God appear there? Very strange. There are many strange things when you look at it, at the story of Purim, that don't really fall into line with the other festivities that we have. By the way, did Achashverosh love the Jews? Well, it seems that Haman is the one that told them, let's kill the Jews. But apparently Achashverosh was in accordance with that. He was pleased by it. He gave him his thing. Go ahead, and his signet, his ring. Go ahead and do it. Apparently he was no friend of Jews. Did he hate Jews as much as Haman? Maybe not. But he didn't like the Jews. The story of Purim finishes that Haman is killed and the Jews are able to fend for themselves and so on. Who remains king at the end of the story? Achashverosh is still the king. In other words, Purim is not the end of the story. When you speak about Hanukkah, that's the end of the story. We had a new kingdom for a couple of 100 years. I don't know exactly how many years the Beit HaMikdash was renovated, and what have you. But in Purim, what happened? There's one item in Purim that is very important. It says toward the end of the Megillah, Kimu vekiblu. The rest of the Jews accepted the message that Mordechai and Esther gave them. It's our rabbis say, when we accepted the Torah at Mount Sinai, one of the Midrashim says, God picked up Mount Sinai and put it on top of our ancestors and said, either you accept the Torah or else I let go of the mountain and you die here. So it was under duress that they accepted the Torah. But in the time of Purim, it seems something really happened. Our ancestors realized that they ate together with Achashverosh, festivities, everything went fine, and yet they wanted to kill the Jews. That assimilation does not lead you to any good thing. And by the way, this was one of the arguments of Haman. Haman said, we have a people that are spread all over, and they don't listen to the king's laws. Maybe the problem was that we were not united. We were spread all over. And after the events that led to the downfall of Haman, our ancestors realized that we have to live by the Torah and we have to stay united, because that is the only thing that gives us surety for the future. There's one law that I never understood really. It says that you have to get drunk on Purim until you cannot tell the difference between Arur, Haman, and Baruch Mordechai. You cannot tell the difference between cursed be Haman and blessed be Mordechai. Why should you get drunk? It's the only time, and the Shulchan Aruch makes it a little bit easier. It says, you'll drink a lot, you'll fall asleep, so in your sleep, you won't be able to distinguish between the two. But it was very clear, you should get drunk. You know why? Because had it been that the king wouldn't have liked for a moment Esther, or as the poet Heine said, supposing she had a wart on her nose, and when she went to the beauty contest, the king wouldn't have liked her, then the whole story of Purim would have been different. On the one hand, it was by lot that Haman decided when he was going to kill the Jews, and by the other hand, it was also accident that there was a Jewish queen and she could intervene, and therefore we were saved. But basically, they could have killed us in any moment. So that Purim is really a worrisome story. It's worrisome and teaches us that outside of Israel, there's no security for the Jewish people. If you want to be secure, if you want to be the one that guides your own destiny, you have to be in Israel, in your own land. There's where you can make sure that no one that attempts to destroy you will be successful.